You are listening to Christian Audio's production of Widows and Orphans by Susan Meissner. This book is read by Tavia, Gilbert. This audio recording was produced in 2016 by Christian Audio, which owns the copyright. No portion of this recording may be reproduced for any reason without prior written consent from Christian Audio. This edition issued by contractual arrangement with Susan Meissner, originally published in English as Widows and Orphans, copyright 2016 by Susan Meissner, all rights reserved. Please visit christianaudio.com, facebook.com/Christian Audio, or twitter.com/Christian Audio to offer your impressions of this work and to explore additional titles. 1. Manhattan, New York, 2006. Rachael Flynn had just laid her 2-month-old daughter down for a nap and walked back into her living room when the ringing of the telephone split the early afternoon quiet. She pushed aside the stack of legal briefs she'd been perusing earlier that morning, which were strewn about the coffee table and hiding the cell phone that beckoned her. Rachael mentally reminded herself, as she unearthed the phone, that maternity leave meant she wasn't obligated to wade through any of the files. But the polite plea that she stay current with the firm's caseload while she enjoyed McKenna's first 6 months at home had needled her that morning. She had grudgingly surrendered to the call of obligation, even though it was a Sunday. She grabbed the phone and sat down on the couch. Her mother's number blinked back at her on the phone's tiny screen. "Hey, Mom." "Rachael?" Her mother's voice on the other end was thick with panic. "What is it? What's wrong?" A sliver of fear pierced the calm. Rachel's first thought was that something terrible had happened to her father. "Joshua has—" Her mother's voice broke away in a sob. Joshua, Rachel's younger brother by 5 years, the missionary to the downtrodden, the hope of the homeless and fatherless, the zealot for social justice, the religious fanatic, the troublemaker. Joshua was in trouble. Again. Her brother was a study in contrasts. A good man, a man of compassion, a man whose credo was easily first do no harm. He lived to ease the suffering of the most vulnerable, but he was a man who brazenly took the law into his own hands whenever he perceived it might correct an injustice. For all the good he did, he seemed forever in trouble. Joshua had a record in 4 Minnesota counties for being empathetic to a fault. "My brother is the only decent man I know who knows what it's like to be in handcuffs," Rachael had said to Trace, her husband, on their first date, when he had asked about her family. She had learned it was best to be upfront with people from the get-go when it came to explaining Joshua. "What has he done?" Rachael asked. "Rachael, he's—" Again, her mother's voice faltered. Rachael exhaled heavily. She was continually torn between a lifelong desire to shelter Joshua from the cruelties of the world, like she did when he was young and she had influence, and wanting to clobber him for being so stubbornly independent. She wasn't sure she wanted to know what new offense Joshua had committed in the name of God and all things holy. She had lost count of how many times he had been arrested for being where he shouldn't, doing what he ought not, and saying what he technically wasn't free to say. Her mother was no doubt calling to ask for her legal advice yet again. What more could she say than what she had already said 100 times over? As long as Joshua persisted in exercising his own brand of social justice, he would continue to land himself in jail. There wasn't any way around it. She could only protect him from so much. Rachael waited for her mother to finish. She eased back into the couch, tossing her infant daughter's burp cloth onto the coffee table in front of her. She mentally flipped through the catalog of Joshua's past offenses, blocking entry to abortion clinics, resisting arrest, obstructing legal process, interfering with police procedure, trespassing, breaking and entering, loitering, making false statements to the police. Mere misdemeanors and strongly worded citations. He had spent more time in court than in actual jail. What could he have possibly done this time? When her mother remained silent, Rachael began again. "Mom, what did he do?" "Oh, Rachael, I can hardly say it." "Mom, please."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?